Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. This is Variety Sports Network. This is episode 12 of Football from Across the Pond. It's deadline day. Just for those of you who do watch this regularly, if you're out there, you may wonder why that we've all got little yellow banners in the UK. Deadline day on Sky Sports. It's always top and tail with bright yellow, so I kind of changed the bannering for today for bright yellow just because of the trade deadline. Just a little touch. Joined again today with Johnny. How you doing, big fella?
All right, not bad. Yeah,
good. We got Sam in the house with all his fully kitted out and fully yellow and blue with his Rams outfit.
Yep.
Can't do it. We got Craigie. How you doing, big guy?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
And we got, ready to get. And we got welcoming a new face, Doug. You've been, shall we say, press ganged in by the other two to come and join us.
Absolutely, but it's a pleasure. Nice to be here.
Thanks very much for jumping in and joining us. So, main thing this week, I know it was the final of the NFL London Series month-long adventure in the UK. Sam, I know you were in London this week to kind of get the feel of it at Wembley. Craig and Johnny, you both hit up Tottenham. So how was it this weekend for you then, Sam?
It was a really good game, actually. I went into the game expecting, with very little expectation, to be honest. I thought we were in for a very low-scoring game, and actually it had everything that you wanted from a London game. I mean, pretty much, I think was it the second play, Russ threw an interception that was utterly dreadful. And yeah, it had everything you needed in it. And the only thing that I was really disappointed with was I remember when I last went to London for the Rams Bengals match in 2019, so before COVID. And they had all the tailgating stuff. Obviously, they've now built over that land, but the only place you could get a drink outside the stadium was a very, very small area, which had one, probably only 4 or 5 actual bar stands, and it was essentially just one place where you could get a drink. So the whole element of tailgating was just completely lost.
Yeah, I heard the rumours about it and hearing about it, as you say, where they used to tailgate at Wembley is all being kind of built over and flats and whatever else has appeared. So they have lost that aspect of outside and tailgating. But I didn't realise there was literally just one place where.
Yeah, I mean they even enforced a no street drinking around London, around Wembley, so you couldn't drink pretty much for the moment you got onto Wembley Way. So yeah, it all just felt very. I don't know if maybe obviously going off NFL, but maybe the impact of what happened in the Euros has maybe put people on edge. But yeah, it had that. We don't want people to drink outside because we don't want anything to go down feel, and I think they completely lost the mark on what the NFL is about around London. Yeah. It's a completely different.
It's not like that. It's not that tribal aspect at all, is it? And it was interesting because somebody else posted in one of the Facebook groups, the NFL UK groups, they took a picture of all of the stewards, all kind of sitting, watching all the stands, going, "Well, are they at the wrong game? Do they not realise that nothing ever's going to kick off at an NFL game?" And it's like, I get it from a safety standard. That's Wembley. That's them sort of stipulating you must. There's supposed to be 90,000 people in, therefore you must have 300 stewards or whatever it is. But yeah, you understand that maybe the way they were set up was done in that sort of very antagonistic, or as you say, Sam, very football driven. So you wonder if Wembley has forgotten. That, when the NFL comes to Wembley, it's a party. It's not a.
Yeah, I mean, before we even got in the stadium, and when we did the classic spot every jersey, and we saw even before we got in the stadium, we saw every single team. So it's not that same atmosphere. It wasn't like it was you were going in and it was Broncos versus Jags that split them apart, like that tribalism.
Yeah.
Everyone was there wearing different jerseys, having a good laugh. We were chatting to some Broncos fans behind us, and you had fans everywhere. And it just wasn't. it felt like they'd missed the mark on that, and I think it would have. I think looking maybe from like an American point of view, because we did speak to some American fans, and they were like, where is it all? So I think it sets a bad representation of who we are as sort of, not necessarily as people,
sort
but
of expansion or something.
Yeah, it just felt like it could have been dealt with a lot better. But
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I know because during the first couple of weeks they did something at the South Bank and they kind of tried to do a whole sort of fan interaction. Did you guys get down there, Johnny, Craig, when you went down? Did you see the stuff at the South Bank?
Yeah, we went to go round to the Packers play. They had a pub booked out and they were all in there, and it's so we went to try and go round into that one, but it was queued so far round the corner, that we ended up going into one of the pubs just next door. This was on the Saturday, obviously, before the game. But I mean, the Tottenham Stadium, actually outside the ground, it wasn't the best for having a drink. If you want, there was a wee pub in the corner that was.
Well, there was two pubs, but you couldn't. Well, it was a big queue to
Couldn't get in. Yeah, exactly.
But once you got in, when you went in through the first part of the ticket bits into the ground, all the bars were kind of outside, in the ground, but outside, on the outside, and you got a drink there easy. You could kick about there. We've seen Good Morning Football being recorded in there. And, that atmosphere was great. And in there, you could get a drink very easily. So I'm very disappointed at Wembley if that was the case down there. It was certainly a lot more friendly and easier to get a drink and stuff at Tottenham. It was the merchandise tent that I was very disappointed in at Tottenham. That was terrible.
Yeah, there wasn't much of a selection.
Sounds like the Wembley one was even worse. It sounds like the Wembley one was just whatever was still left over by the sounds of things. So, yeah, it sounds...
But all the Wembley games I've been to, the tailgate has been one of the best parts. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Before and after the game. They used to encourage you to stay behind and watch Redstone on the big screen.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't think they've got anywhere to do that anymore, have they?
No,
I think Douglas Baxter trying to throw a football at the tailgate at Wembley, so that was well and truly worth that whole entire trap.
Didn't go well.
They did put a sign, not like they kept doing a tannoy out of because obviously it's the Jaguars who are home, I suppose technically the home team, and they were saying the Jaguars support Wembley's move in against antisocial behaviour and all of this. So there was a clear message behind it, and I don't know if that's something that's being enforced because of everything that happened during the Euros, or
probably yes, but there's a different type of crowd. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They just missed the mark by the sounds of it.
Yeah, they just felt like they. I mean, don't get me wrong. Once you got in the ground, I mean, we got it. We queued to get in for 11:30, and once you got in, obviously you could have as many drinks as you want if you could, as much as you could afford. So, once we'd got in, it was absolutely fine.
Just missing that feeling outside. Then it seems.
Yeah, it just that what you see on don't want to be cliche, but what you see on TV at some of the actual in NFL games in America, and you just think you want to go to that because it's part of that atmosphere, it's part of that experience,
it's part of the day, isn't it? And if the NFL are bringing that to the UK, then the fact that they've gone, and as you say, maybe it's not, when you were back there pre-COVID, the last time they were at Wembley, there was all that space, there was the ability to do it, and in the intervening years, a lot of building has gone on, but it's a shame that they haven't kept a designated area for that kind of thing. Doug, you mentioned that I just hear you had just been out in the States. You've been to Levi's, so you may have seen it from the full.
Oh, it was nuts. So that was the Chiefs match. So it was a 1:30 kickoff American time, and we got there at 10:30, 11:15. So we were loads of time. The place, the tailgate was stacked out. It was crazy. Some of the setups were, they've got their own DJs, got the big plasma screens at the back of the trucks. Just nuts. And they would have been there from, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning.
or the night before, by the sounds of it.
Or the night before, yeah. And that proper atmosphere. And no trouble, no hassle. Just good, fun, friendly banter. And there was a lot of Chiefs fans. I was quite surprised at just how many there were, but yeah, it was good. It was good.
And it's a shame then, that, as you say, Sam, if they've lost that around Wembley, and we do have Wembley for the next couple of years with the Jags, so they've got signed up for at least a couple more games. You hope that they might take on board what the fans want. They want that full game day experience, which is the tailgate and the meet and the greet, and
And the thing
it's never going to be like a home and away game, apart from Craig and Johnny's game, because of the amount of Packers fans that turned up. It was like a home and away game, but the majority of time in the UK, it's just going to be a Super Bowl-esque type game where every fan just wants to go and watch. So you're not going to get home and away. You're not going to get 75% Jags fans in Wembley.
No, you were getting there were people from all around the world there. We were speaking to Danish people. Obviously, there were some Americans there. It didn't feel like, and you didn't necessarily. It didn't obviously. I know there was drinking within the tailgate, but you could have easily taken that drinking element out, or had a limited drinking element to it, and still had the tailgating and the atmosphere and that. And then
merchandising stalls and some just that sort of feel, I suppose, isn't it?
I think the only thing they had was what was called the jungle, but it was basically like a little tiny mini assault course where you just run through a airbag thing, a throwing thing, throwing the ball through the targets, and then pictures with the Jags cheerleaders. But it was very small and just meh.
It's almost like an afterthought, like an add-on type thing that they just kind of squeezed in somewhere rather than full organized tailgate. It's interesting because, and as you say, Craig, Johnny, at Tottenham, there's not really a massive space and there's not really the opportunity. But once you're in, there's a feeling inside the ground almost of the tailgate happening internal.
Well, you have the inside outside. If once you go through the gates, there's a big outside area at Tottenham that you don't have at Wembley. So you're still kind of outside. It still has that not in the stadium yet feel. And it's you can be there, and they had all the bars set up there. As I said, Good Morning Football was recording. We were standing watching them film, and you got the atmosphere in there. Everyone was there for the game. Everyone was having a good time, few drinks, and then when you go in the stadium and then you think you're inside, So it was a big difference for me. I thought it was very good.
And I'm sure I've got a picture of Doug wearing the cheese hat too.
That's how
the cheese hat.
Everyone had the cheese hat on.
So it's interesting, and hopefully, with Roger Goodall saying that he wants to expand and bring the NFL more, and maybe a few more games or whatever else, and all the promises he was making, and Doug from our side, from the 49ers, I know by the sound of it, if you were in the Chiefs game, you probably missed the 49ers watch party at Leeds. Couldn't get up to that one, but the official teams doing watch parties and stepping outside of not just doing the games. It used to be that Regent Street sort of parade, but they moved that to the South Bank. They did a lot of stuff around the schools. I know they did a lot of stuff around the schools and the NFL Academy this time around. So I know they're trying to do more. So hopefully more feedback of the the tailgate was missing. It sounds like it would be good if they could look into that for the next time round. Sorry, Johnny, you were going to say?
But it was weird not seeing so much in Regent Street, even though they weren't doing the display. But at UCL, it's been great seeing it all across the road, the NFL, right across the banners, across the top, and all that. It was always a nice thing to see.
I don't know why they didn't do it this year, actually. But
probably because they moved to South Bank, but I don't know. But it's just normal sort of decorations across the top, which is a bit of a shame. But
the thing is,
great just to take a photo.
It's also becoming it's becoming the regular thing now as well, isn't it? You've not got it's not new anymore,
Yeah, it's a couple of years on now, isn't it? It's the NFL London games. It's
2007 now. It's not the big razzmatazz anymore. They're now just playing the games, but they still have to remember that they have to have the feel of the American side. It's not a British sport, it's an American sport, and there's razzmatazz that goes along with it. That's part and parcel of the game, and that's what the fans want to see, and they want to experience when they come to the games.
That's it. It's all about the experience, isn't it? It's experiencing an NFL game, and for a lot of people, it's going to be one of their only opportunities to go. So you've got to make it spectacular and make it enjoyable, because it might be the only NFL game that they ever get to see. So
And what we seem to be trying to turn it into over here is like a football game where you turn up 5 minutes before kickoff and you're away 5 minutes after the game finishes, and that's not what the NFL is.
yeah.
You can get that from a, as you say, from an English and a UK perspective. You're used to kind of waiting to the last minute, rushing in, watching a game, getting out because you go and watch in pubs and pre-games and whatever else.
Yeah.
But as you say, the NFL isn't football. The NFL comes with its own cheerleaders, razzmatazz, tailgate, the whole bits and pieces. And as you say, Sam, this might be the one game that people ever get to see. So you want to make it, engaging and enjoyable for that fan that's just like, somebody's giving me a ticket, I'm not really sure what this is all about.
Yeah.
You need to grab them and grow the game because it's those are the ones, as you say, us fans here, we know we want to go and see the game as well as all the other bits, but the game is what we're going for. But if you've got loads of fans who have got tickets and sort of go, I'm coming along because X, Y, and Z has kind of taken me, you want to grab them, teach them what the game's all about and kind of try to help
enjoy
the
themselves so they come back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Until
and like
maybe
you said-
stay up at one night, two in the morning and whatever.
And like I say, if they really want to, if they want to introduce the, that this rumored plan that they're going to introduce a European division, you're going to have to up it because people aren't going to want to go to that. Like, they'll go to it, but it just be like you say, it'll turn into it like a football match over here, where you go, you turn up, you watch it, you go home, and it doesn't have that party atmosphere to it.
And I'm hearing a lot on that Facebook group as well about, lots of Americans are like, what is it with you guys all turning up with jerseys of the teams that are not playing? It's just like, you don't get that, it's a one-off. This is the one and only, or you get 3 chances to watch an NFL game.
Yeah.
You're going to go no matter if you're a Giants fan, Packers fan, Rams fan, whatever team is playing, you're going. If your team happens to be playing, you guys, this year, brilliant extra plus.
But then,
plus,
like you said before, if a franchise happens, and
it will still be the same.
You make it like your second team. You might buy a jersey for that game as long as they're not playing your team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I would probably buy a jersey for the team that are based in the UK, and if I was down and they weren't playing the Giants, I'd wear their jersey. I'd maybe wear a Giants cap to go with it.
Yes.
You'd end up with that
their
sort of
jersey.
dichotomy, wouldn't you? Yeah, you'd end up with a horrible half and half flag as well, wouldn't you?
But it will be different.
I did buy one of them just to stick behind the wall at some point to annoy Craig.
I think
It will be difficult to make that work, though. It just feels almost like a generational thing because none of us are going to change our teams. But maybe the next generation would grow up to support a London team. But
and I think the Jags actually are growing their younger generation because they're putting so much into the schools and stuff like that. So you will find that there will be a generation of more proportion Jags fans in the UK just because of they're based in the UK. Well, not based, but they're the home team. They're here every year. They put a lot of effort in. They kind of try and do a lot. So you will get the next generation will have a proportionally higher of Jaguars fans in the UK than other teams. You won't get every UK fan being a Jags fan. It just won't happen. As you say, you won't get that. And I don't think the NFL have quite grasped the deep rootedness, as you say, Doug. Once you've chosen a team, that's your team. It doesn't matter.
No, because I think in America they tend to change team where they move to.
Yeah, if they move state, they change their team. It's just like
apart from Linda, who's in our league, Seahawks. She's a mental Seahawks fan. She's got a Seahawks car, everything. But obviously, she lives in Dallas. But our whole our office at work is just completely Seahawks. Everything Seahawks because obviously she's a mad Seahawks fan. And but
lives in Dallas.
It's either
as you say, usually
someone in Texas anyway, like.
But usually, what would happen with her is she grew up in Seattle, moved to Dallas or Houston, and would eventually just kind of go.
But she usually finds a bar where they watch the Seattle games and they have raffles and all that every game.
So she kind of gets our experience of the NFL in Dallas. But I think it's right that it does seem that people flex teams or move teams depending on their living situations, and they move, and if they I've heard of people going from San Fran to LA and changing teams, and that's like
yeah, that probably doesn't happen too often though.
That's
Seeing the
no,
Niners
but
and the Rams.
considering last year the 49ers were doing well, I supported them, and this year the Rams are doing well, I'm supporting them. And to us, that's obviously a bit anathema, and it's like, oh, that's horrible. But
Yeah, it's
that's
like
maybe
it's like going from Everton to Man United, isn't it? You just don't do it.
Man United to Man City, and it's like, oh, they're winning now, I'll support them. It's like, well, that's not how it works. But maybe
Or anybody
because
at Man
there's-
United, because everybody hates them.
Absolutely. I think that's probably the only thing we can all support on this one. So Sam pops up and says he's a United fan.
No, I'm an Arsenal fan.
Oh, there's three of us
No,
then.
not
There you
another
go.
one.
Three, five.
Move on.
Massive. But you're right. None of us will change our teams, and our generation won't change our team. But we will go to the games. That's the thing, we will go to the games. We will attend the games. They will sell out. And as Doug says, the next generation will then be supporting the team because they won't have their American team. If you're looking in the long term, if you're looking at the long plan, I think it's very sustainable to have a team over here. And we won't change, but we will go.
And we'll take kids and we'll take young, we'll go along with others. And, yes, we'll talk about our teams and we'll still wear all of our stuff. But as you say, we'll buy a Jags cap or we'll buy something because
they will need to improve the ability to buy merchandise over here though.
There is.
Yes.
That's a nice segue in it we'll talk about in just a second. Yeah, just as you mentioned there, Sam, I know we kind of briefly chatted about this earlier. Doug, you'll appreciate this as well. One of our 49er faithful guys has bought a jersey from Fanatics International recently of our new signing. And it's indicative, I think, of some of the problems that some of the UK fans have faced in terms of getting hold of merchandise. As you can see, custom designed jersey, custom number, custom named, and this is from the Fanatics International. This is the store that we are, as international fans, kind of forced to go to if we wanted anything official. McCaffrey missing the big C in his name. It's just typical, and it's not. And we can all laugh about it and go, "Oh, poor guy," but I'm sure we've all heard horror stories from Fanatic International of something similar happening in terms of poor manufacturing, poor naming, poor print, and then obviously the other fun and games that we had at the London Games is the extortionate price that the NFL fans are forced to pay for.
I know. What idiot would pay £60 for a tee?
What complete idiot would pay £60?
Get it on.
And all fairness, the
Have
hat
you got
is
that
great.
picture?
Oh,
here it comes.
Here it comes.
And it's not there anymore. I thought it was behind the house, but it's not there anymore.
It's been
Probably
moved.
threw it out.
The hat is still alive. It's still in one piece. It made it all the way home. And it will come out when we win the Super Bowl. If we ever win the Super Bowl again.
It'll be mouldy by then.
Gary, have you still got that picture I sent you?
It might be a bit blue cheese by then. But yeah,
let me find
it's a lot of money to pay for a bit of foam.
Yeah,
I just think like
It was actually sturdier than we thought, though. Ken,
Yeah,
wasn't
very
it?
much
Yeah,
so.
it would survive the rain, but not too much.
I mean, I think that there is a slight mild growth, I would say, across the country. I mean, lids is starting to become quite
Very
popular.
popular.
There is a lot of
Yeah.
lids going around. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where I got my snapback from, was from lids in Derby.
Lads.
So it is. They are starting to maybe, but I mean, lids is owned by Fanatics, so everything you get is all a byproduct of Fanatics.
Yeah.
But it's more the fact that it's like, fair enough, lids is predominantly about all the hats and that, and they do have some jerseys there, and it is for like NBA and the other sports. But if you're gonna introduce a franchise or two franchises into London or into the UK, you're going to have to improve not only how you merchandise that club or those two franchises, also the other teams as well, because it's, we do have such a eclectic range of fans.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's the problem that I think a lot of the guys who went to the games at Wembley and Tottenham, although this is a mess, but it just kind of shows what you get to see at a UK game. You've got Johnny there with his giant shirt on, wearing the cheese head. You've got all the mix of different fans. And as you're right, Sam, if they're going to bring the NFL to the UK and they're going to put games on, they're going to have to bring merch for every team near enough, because you're not going to get just home and away. You're going to get every team turning up, and it is maybe the one chance you get to go to a team shop and try to get a few more bits that you can't get, and you always see them, and you kind of think, I'd love to be able to get. Personally, I'm always on the lookout for a gold 49ers jacket, and I know you can only get them, and I know they're absolutely massively expensive, and I know one day I will eventually just bite the bullet and get one from eBay. But it's the kind of stuff to have that ability to go and shop for the full range of merch is something they are missing out on, because the market is here, obviously, as you can see.
Yeah, I mean, there was what you're looking at. 86,000 fans went to this. Maybe how many was it? Tottenham 65,000.
65.
Saving a quarter of those people were the same people going to every game. You're still looking at upwards of 200,000 fans.
Oh yeah,
Well, you've got a Ravens top at the back there.
I was going to say, I was just looking in. You can see there's the Ravens. There's some Giants in the background there. That looks like a top right corner. That looks to me like it might be a Chargers over in the corner there. I'm not sure. It might be another round. It might be a Rams.
Oh, is that a cheesehead in the back there? I can see a cheesehead in the back too.
The shop at Levi, it was just mind blowing how much money was getting spent. It's just a missed opportunity to make a lot of money.
Yeah,
it was.
And the thing is,
wild.
people will spend the money. I mean, one of the guys that I know through Fantasy NFL, he went and paid £140 for a Saint bomber jacket.
Yeah.
Like, people will spend that sort of money.
Oh,
you just need to make it available.
Yeah.
Johnny sent me a link for a pair of Green Bay Packer trainers yesterday. And I couldn't help. I don't even know where they're coming from. But I couldn't help myself. I had orders straight away, and they're winging their way, And I'm willing to spend the money. I'm willing to buy the goods. Just I don't know how to.
Thing is, though, they weren't actually that expensive compared to trainers.
No,
in the UK. It's like £60 or £55 plus postage. Like
cheaper than a cheesehead.
Total, so.
Cheaper than a cheesehead, yeah.
So is it cheaper than the cheesehead? Yeah.
They come in just slightly over the cheesehead when you added the delivery and stuff like that. But I'm willing to buy them. I just don't know where to get. I'd like you, Gary. I'd love to get a Packer jacket. I really would.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want a Packer golf bag. I want it's these kind of things. These are things that I will go and buy. Douglas knows very well. I mean, my golf bag's kitted out with as much Packer stuff as I can find.
I mean, quite frankly, on the screen now, these are the trainers that I ordered.
They're decent.
The
they're a
49ers
lot
trainers.
more expensive than Craig's ones.
Well, I could have them for work as well because they're red.
They're red, so yeah. I mean, but literally they came out. They were about $140 or whatever else, and you can only get them through the Fanatics US site. So you have to kind of go through your hoops to get them. But as you say, people are going to buy them because we have the market here. People want that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you will go and get it.
That's what Craig ordered.
Oh yeah,
and it's like £50 or something like that. So.
Yeah, horrible.
Horrible
that's from Sports Design or something.
Sports Design, yes.
But
I mean, I think it's coming from America though, so I expect to get them around Christmas time, But
nice Christmas. You'll totally forget about them, and you'll suddenly get a package through the door, and that's kind of one of the joys. Well, that's next week, though, isn't it, Doug?
That's about half, I've got to say.
Chicago.
Speaking of they're on a roll now. Well, considering and as you say, so merchandise in the NFL are definitely missing a trick because we're all here. As you say, Doug, you just went out to Levi's and you probably came away from the shop, just
bought the hat.
Cap,
I mean, my wife bought stuff. The dog got a bandana. You name it.
A whole lot, yeah. And one of the guys from the 49er Faithful UK went out to Levi's, I think, for the game 2 weeks prior to the Chiefs one, and I pinged him, and he got a shopping list, and he bought me a cap, and he bought me the pin back from it was a Seahawks game.
Yeah.
So we are, and it's that kind of thing, because you get one opportunity, you go and you kind of throw money at the guy who's gone over there and he has space in his suitcase and he's jamming stuff in to do that. NFL really are missing a merchandising goldmine if they don't sort of start picking it up and bringing more stuff to the games. I think they are gonna if they they just need one. I think they just need to do it once, realize how much money they can make from it, and then they'll suddenly be like, well, why have we not done this before?
Even just merchandising over here and having a proper kind of online shop that you can get it from, it's
and you can trust what you're going to get. Yeah,
and you can, exactly. Obviously Fanatics isn't the one that we're looking for. Get NFL UK, get a proper shop in there that we can get everything that you can get in America, because you will sell it. And the thing about it as well here is we're now getting to the first generation of NFL fans in the UK. They're kind of our age now. They started watching it in the 80s, just like, most of us, And they're now at the age where they've got a little bit of expendable income, they're a little bit older. The kids are maybe a wee bit older. They've got money to spend, and they're missing such a trick.
We are the gold mine, the untapped market. Where in the US they'd be like, well, these guys are wear our stuff and they've got it all. Whereas, as you say, we're at that age now. We've got a little bit of expendable money. We're looking for ways to use it. We've got a passion. We've got a we want to use it. We have this money that we want to use. Give us an outlet for it, and an NFL shop in the UK for the 1 month. I mean, even if it turns up for a month, right, and it's a proper NFL shop that all UK fans can order from in that 1 month of the London games or whatever, it would. I don't know. You should say 200,000 fans through London, plus all the others who come to London for the weekend who maybe don't have tickets and stuff. It's just. Crazy that there's not something there. Make an absolute fortune.
Honestly, I think all they had to do is that big Nike shop that's near Wembley.
Oh,
shove it in there, and just have everything kitted out. Because they did start when I went for the Rams match, they had loads of stuff in there. All you've got to do is basically just, have all the stuff in the background. A week before the first match is in, whether it's Tottenham or Wembley, they're not far from each other. Pull everything out and just absolutely stuff it, and just
Nike for 1 month. Your London outlet store at Wembley is going to be the NFL outlet store.
It would just get hammered. Every game would get hammered. They would be there on a Friday or a Saturday before the game.
Yeah,
they'd be there Monday to Thursday. People would go in just for the shop.
And then you could use it for the, if you wanted to do things like, I don't know, say like, because Russ, I think, was it a while back? Russ was in London doing like a signing and all of that.
Yeah,
have that in that store. And get people to pay for that. People will pay for it. They just gotta know how to tap into the market, because we're all here with money ready to just spunk it away on NFL stuff. So
if you imagine it, I mean, Doug, from our perspective, you imagine if suddenly Jerry Rice came over and did his stuff for Sky Sports and the NFL UK and the Academy, and then suddenly went, oh yeah, Jerry Rice is signing memorabilia at the Nike store at Wembley. Pop along between 5 and 8 on Wednesday, £10 a ticket. Queue would be, you get there somehow, right? Don't matter where you are, and depending on how far it is. Johnny might be a bit of a struggle.
Yeah,
for you.
maybe a bit much.
But
if I lived in Edinburgh, it would be
Yeah, but if you heard that Lawrence Taylor was signing Giants memorabilia in 2 weeks in London around one of the games, you'd kind of be like, oh, it's Lawrence Taylor. It's it would have to be some, yeah.
A good number of the NFL merchandise, especially the jerseys, are all Nike branded anyway.
Yeah.
So they're already going to get a good deal. They're already getting a good deal by probably making.
The official. They are the official.
Anyway.
Yeah, the official.
To be perfectly honest, I don't actually like the Nike jerseys. I prefer the old.
That's horrible. Jerseys. I prefer the Reebok.
I hate them. The Reebok ones are far better. That's why I usually wear the Reebok one all the time. It's a lot comfier and just
something nicer.
The Nike ones they're too tight a fit and they just don't feel right. Don't know.
They're not as.
I've got plenty of them, but I just don't like them. But
you don't like them as much. I think they are more designed for the fashion side of supports wearing rather than a sports jersey that I think because they're not, it's more on, it's a fashion brand that does sportswear rather than Reebok sportswear that people turn to fashion. It's a bit of a middle ground.
Obviously, the Reebok one's one of the warmest with the holes in them, but they were nice.
They were all mesh, yeah.
You always wore a t-shirt underneath, but
at least a long sleeve or a t-shirt or a hoodie on, depending on the size.
You wouldn't get the pads underneath these replica jerseys that you get these days either, would you? You need to get the real deal if you put the pads on.
It's interesting when you do a bit of a search for like game used or game worn stuff. The way those shirts look compared to you're like, there's such a bizarre shape and size and everything. They're like 3 times as long, but really short on the arms because they get over the pads. It's such a bizarre look. But yeah, it's always quite interesting if you ever look for them because they do look like dresses because they're so long to get over the pads and everything else. It's very bizarre. Deadline day. I don't know if you all managed to kind of keep track of the madness.
It went a bit mad for a bit.
It went a bit. I mean, it was initially, it was like, there's a couple of trades happening. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And then it just kind of exploded in the last hour or so. I've got the NFL sort of site up here. Highlights.
A very bad day for the Green Bay Packers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Because we
did really well, the Green Bay Packers. Absolutely nothing.
And the Hawkinson going to the Vikings pretty much, for me, that could put the final nail in the coffin for us winning the division this year.
Yeah, I saw that when I saw that, and I saw that Packers hadn't been made a play of an equal something. I was like, it's almost like the Rams taking a knee in the when 17 down, and it's like you've almost mailed it in and decided to not challenge that one. That was a weird one. It's like wave the flag and you can have it. Yeah, I mean it's a big move for the Vikings. It's a pretty good move, I think. Cousins likes his tight end.
Well, they've lost Smith to IR now.
Yeah, it's almost it's almost like a 1 in 1 out, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he's better than Irv Smith. For sure.
Yeah. Big replacement.
If he can stay healthy.
Well, he's essentially he's very much like a, like your Kittles and your Kelseys and your Andrews. He's a receiving tight end.
By far,
a bit more of a hybrid in terms of you'll use him for blocking or receiving. He's not going to do both. Hawkinson's going to do both. And be very effective with it.
Yeah. I mean, he's already had a couple of games for the awful Detroit Lions this year. He's already blown up in a couple of games, hasn't he? So now going to a Vikings team, now going to a Vikings team that look like will utilize him and plug him in with an already pretty good defense. It's a pretty good offense. Sorry, when you've got Cousins, Jefferson, Cook, it's like it's
in the division as well, which is quite
that was what surprised me. I mean, I get the Lions third and fourth or something, or
was it second and fifth?
Yeah, second and fourth.
Pretty sure there was a second in there, but it was weird though because the fourth picks over or some weird thing like that. It was like they got Hawkinson in a fourth, and then they gave away a second and a. But I don't know.
Yeah, so Detroit got a second round and a third round. So a 2023 second round and a 2024 third round. Minnesota got Hawkinson, a 2023
fourth, yeah,
and a 2024 conditional fourth. It's like,
okay. For me,
I know.
I think the weirdest trade for me though is the Calvin Ridley trade.
Oh, that's crazy, that one.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere. That one did. It was
a 2023
conditional fifth and 2024 conditional second. So it's a 2023 conditional fifth.
But it's weird that it's a really complicated trade because if he there's something about it could be a fifth, but if he gets to a certain amount, it could be a fourth. It could then go to a third, or it could be a second. It's a really weird trade.
It's so bizarre, and especially as you say, he's completely out. He's not going to be playing for
that one. Definitely came from left field. That one did because nobody.
That was almost as left field as the Chiefs
for that one.
That was almost as left field as the Chiefs picking up Tony.
Picking up Tony, yeah.
That was
that could work out well though. So
that could work out well.
If he gets on the field,
passes and he gets Well, he seems to be a lot healthier now than he was like 2 weeks ago.
It tells me that they've not got much faith in Sky Moore, though. If they're bringing in another speed demon, it's maybe the right one. Sky Moore's here.
I wouldn't be surprised if Sky Moore gets wavered.
Yeah,
he's not made that breakout, is he? No, he's not done the stuff that everyone. What about Claypool?
Yeah, that's big as well. To the Bears,
that's big. I mean, the Bears they looked okay. They got turned over, but Justin Fields is starting to.
They're coming on to
open up a bit,
I am not like. I think I'm probably one of very few people. I do not rate Justin Fields as a quarterback at all.
Oh no, I'm not a fan.
I watched him a couple of weeks ago, and his progressional work is dreadful.
But is that because he's never had the chance to? Because the O-line in Chicago is worse than the O-line in LA.
I mean, it is quite possible, but I just think he missed in the game that I watched. He missed Darnell Mooney on a open route run. And he just ignored him, and I just think his first thought is always to run, and I think that maybe that is to do with the poor O-line, and he's constantly thinking, I need to get out of the pocket, I need to get away. Rather than
he's been hit that many times, he probably is.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of PTSD almost, isn't it? It's just like you've got 2 seconds got to go because he knows in 2.5 seconds a big lad's going to come around the blind side or whatever.
Yeah,
maybe
I'm just not convinced by him. I don't think that. I don't know. It feels like it doesn't matter who you put him in, who you put in at wide receiver. It's not going to make a difference because that's not how Fields plays. But like you say, maybe it is a bit of PTSD from a poor O-line. But yeah, I'm not convinced at all.
I think
it's interesting. Go on, Craig.
Sorry, Gary.
I was going to say I saw something where people were starting to grade the 2021 draft pick rookie, QBs already, and it's like you can't really do it. None of them have really had anything to go by. But they were saying Fields is slightly above Lawrence, slightly above Jones, and it's like surely it's too early to be trying to grade them on a season and a half.
Well, Jones obviously had a good season last year, but he was in a good scheme.
Plugged into a good scheme, didn't he?
That's the thing. I mean, anyone could have done that. Could have sat.
But this year with Patricia, he's done nothing. So
he
might even lose his job if he carries on the way.
Yeah, he's absolute plod.
Yeah, he's a plodder, and that's why the Niners never took him. Now Lance might not work out for us. I don't know, but you can see why they never took Jones. He's not. I don't think his ceiling's that particularly high.
He's a Jimmy, isn't he?
He doesn't have to be though, because Belichick does like to run the ball, and he gets to run.
No, absolutely.
He's just got to cut out his Jimmy Garoppolo mistakes, and he'll be all right.
Yeah.
The 2021 draft,
sorry, Doug.
A lot was expected from those quarterbacks, to be, it's meant to be the draft for the quarterbacks, and none of them are looking particularly decent. And I know it's only year 2 for Rob, but Lawrence has now played for his full season and a half. He's started every game. Wilson's been the number 1 since day 1. Jones has been the number 1 since day 1. Fields has been the number 1 since about 4 weeks in. And Lance.
Next, move on.
Just a Jordan Love in
the
sky, but
like I watched a bit of Young last week in the college game, and he holds the ball a long time.
Yeah,
it's like in slow motion in college. He's going to get annihilated if he doesn't throw the ball out quicker.
He needs to get rid of it so much quicker. But it's interesting.
It didn't look good.
No, the Jets game.
He'd be the number 1.
It's funny though.
CJ Stroud, maybe
Well, he's a bit. Some of his passes are a bit. I think the year after is meant to be a better class, and that might turn out that way. But
it's one of those ones, though. It's never really the top ones that come through, is it? If you look at the top, the top quarterbacks in the NFL right now are Joe Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Where were they drafted?
Mid-late first round. They weren't.
Even Lamar, he was the 32nd pick, was he not?
Lamar, so many that it always seems to be the ones that you expect.
Herbert, yeah.
I think that
who went ahead of Herbert? It was
Tua.
Burrow was ahead.
Burrow and Tua both went ahead of him.
But it's very much.
We wished on the home, didn't we?
that is the position that's most different between college and NFL. You know, they don't go under the gun. They're always in the gun in college. You know, they're never under centre.
Running these wildcat sort of things and
And
RPOs
it's,
and all that sort of stuff, isn't it?
the kind of standard that's coming at you week in, week out, as opposed to college where, you know, you maybe have one game every kind of 3 or 4 that you've got a real good defense coming at you, but the rest it's a bit easy. And in the NFL, it's, you know, every single week. And I think that is the one position that's just such a big jump that some of them can do it and some of them can't. So it doesn't, you know, it's finding that player in the draft. And as we can see, you know, it's not usually the ones that are taken earliest that make it.
Yeah.
I will give Lawrence a pass on last season.
Yeah. I mean,
that was an organisation that was set to fail with all the
But
stuff
he
that
is
was going
missing
on.
a lot of receivers, though. He's thrown it a bit high.
Yeah.
And he had a few good. He threw a few high ones against us.
I mean,
So
a couple of those interceptions that Wilson threw this week, I mean, they were
awful.
The one
When
where
he
he should have
jumped
just
off the
tossed,
field,
he should have
he
just
threw it,
thrown it off, and he just almost lame ducked it, kind of like hope
Straight
it goes off, but and it's like
But he's thrown the ball while jumping out the pitch. You're like, what are you doing? You're not Mahomes. Don't. Yeah,
so
it's
yeah,
just
you'd have thought
that one he
you'd have
tried
thought-
to throw to the touchline was awful when he just threw right at the defender like that.
Yeah.
It was not.
You would have
pretty.
thought some of those would have stepped on a little further than they have done. So yeah, I do think that, you know, some of them need a little bit longer. But Fields, Lawrence, who have had a season and a half, Lawrence's first season, maybe you know,
But Wilson's got the
played better.
targets. They got him the weapons.
Yeah,
They just
they have.
you
Yeah.
can't hit them.
absolutely.
Yeah, but- And losing Brees Hall is going to make a massive difference to the Jets.
Yeah.
Dougie's boy.
Yeah, God.
Saying that, I mean,
He'd be your keeper. You're all right.
Brees Hall is very, very good. I really like Carter. I think he's just.
I like
he's
Carter
one-
last year.
I think he's one of these running backs that's just getting caught out by someone slightly better than him.
Yeah.
I think that's all his issue is. He's a good running back, but he's going to get caught. He's always going to fall behind Brees Hall. That's simple as it is.
Yeah, but I think he's better than Robinson.
Oh yeah,
Which is why they
Definitely,
shipped
it's a
Robinson.
good-
That's got to be why they shipped Robinson off then.
It's one of those ones that today's the biggest surprise for me today is it's not who has moved, it's who's not moved. Nothing for Kareem Hunt. I thought he would get a bit of interest. And talk to us about Cam Akers, Sam.
well, I mean,
I'd rather not talk about him.
Well, I mean, we were talking about the situation with Cam Akers in the NFL. In the Rams fan chat group. And to be honest, I think it's very much a case of that when we decided that we weren't going to draft we weren't going to trade for a running back. Now's the time for whatever's happened between him and McVay needs to be buried, and you just need to. He can do a job. He's not a starting running back. Clearly, what we wanted for him, we were never going to get for him.
Yeah.
Bury the hatchet. Get on with the game.
Play the rest of the season.
Play the rest of the season. Come to an agreement that in the off season we'll trade him. But you know, he's got a feature, and because if you're going to want to get the draft capital, he's got to play.
Well, I mean, the fact that no one's came in for him now tells you that there is no draft capital there right now. So I think the only option is to play him now, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, you have to reintegrate him now and get something out of him for the rest of the season. I think I saw something. Well, he was on Twitter. His Twitter, he popped up on Twitter saying, "God, I miss football" or something.
I
Yeah,
miss
he
football.
put I'm in football, and then I think someone responded with
Go
Or
play,
play
then.
then or something.
well, play. Yeah, well, why don't you play then? And he turned around and basically said, "I want to. I'm just not being given the opportunity," or something like that. So it's obviously there was obviously a clear dig at McVay that I don't know if
McVay.
maybe.
And that won't go down well either with McVay.
Well,
No.
that's the thing. It's not going to help him.
No.
He's not picked a good day to do that either. I don't know if you caught up on that, but his grandfather has just passed away as well. So, you know, you don't want to be having a dig at McVay today because his grandfather was a 49ers guy. He's just passed as well. So, you know, sad news on that front as well. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Somebody else
having a
passed
dig at your head
away.
coach. Sorry?
I thought I saw somewhere else at somebody else's.
Yeah,
Remember
well,
the family
Mike
passed away?
Zimmer's son.
Mike Zimmer, Adam Zimmer. He was only
Adam
38,
Zimmer.
wasn't
So
No,
yeah,
something to do with Washington as well, I think.
Oh, Ron Rivera's
Ron Rivera's
mother.
yeah.
Yeah.
She passed away as well.
Not good.
So, not a good day.
he? Not a good day then, no. Gentlemen,
Yeah.
I think it's on that happy note.
Finish on a high.
Finish on a high, as we always do. It's been a crazy
Notices.
deadline day. It's been a crazy week.
Well, at least on the bright side, the Giants are not going to lose this week because we're on a bye.
I think Doug and I will happily sailing off into the sunset.
bye
of the bye
is
week.
ready to get us fit. We're ready to roll.
The Packers aren't going to lose this week because they've got the No, I'm going to take that back. The Packers might lose this week, even though they've got the Lions.
Yeah, the Packers could be the worst team in that division, yeah.
And we have the Bucks who are in a dreadful situation. So
The Bucks, the Bucks
hopefully
are.
you'll beat the Bucks. Like,
If you beat the Bucks, then the Bucks are in full meltdown mode. I think.
Yeah.
I think they're very close to an implosion, and if they lose again, it's
Donald gets a couple of hits on Brady, he's gone. Like,
Yeah,
he's going to be throwing the ball in the dirt again all day.
throwing the tablets and whatever else.
So yeah,
But yeah, I mean that nobody wants that.
He throws the
NFC South
tablet
at
better than the
moment,
ball at the moment. So.
and it gets more. But yeah, looking at that game, nobody wants the NFC South at the moment, do they?
No.
The Panthers, Falcons, couldn't give it away.
One, that one, like, yeah.
So yeah, the
But
Bucks,
one of them is going to be in the playoffs,
That's the thing, isn't it?
It's going to be one of those 2018, 2019 when it was at Washington or whoever it was got into the playoffs with a 8-10 record or some, or a losing record, but in the playoffs.
The NFC
Did they not win their first game too, though?
No.
I thought they did.
Yeah, no, I think they did.
No,
Yeah,
they
actually
did.
won a game. Yeah,
Then they got pumped.
Yeah. But they won the first game, so they did in the playoffs. But yeah, the NFC's there for the taking. It really is. It's still
Big
open
time.
for everyone.
Big time.
It's got to go through Philadelphia at the moment, right?
I think so.
Unbeaten team.
Or
It's
Dallas.
Philadelphia
They'll
have
still
a
get to
good
play
schedule.
each other. So
Good schedule. They've got great offense.
They have a
nice
defense.
schedule.
Yeah,
Haven't
they're
they
they'll
just-
get to play.
who have they just brought in?
They just brought in
From the Bears.
Oh, the
Roquan was it? Oh no, the
no.
end,
No, he
the
went to the
defensive
Ravens.
end, wasn't it?
it's,
Wasn't
Oh,
right.
Robert Quinn.
Robert
Quinn.
Quinn.
Yeah.
Defensive
They're
end.
back.
So,
Their backup D lines better than some
Yeah,
starting
they're-
D lines. So,
Yeah.
I am not looking forward to playing them twice.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
they're scared, and you're looking at not just the interdivisional games that they've got, but outside of that, they haven't got.
They've got a soft schedule.
problem.
Yeah,
They've got a soft schedule going through, but.
Tell you.
Strange
We'll
things.
take-
I mean,
we'll
we've
take them.
seen crazy things, right? We've seen crazy
We-
things in the
we'll
NFL
take
season
them.
already.
We'll take them. We'll take them, Craig. We will take them.
Nah, Jimmy G won't get you nothing, I'm afraid.
No,
Well,
they'll just get McCaffrey throwing the ball. That'll be all right.
just keep McCaffrey fit. Keep
Keep him
CMC
fit.
fit.
Just give him
to
the
do
ball.
everything.
He throws it better than Jimmy.
He throws it better than Jimmy. Yeah.
It was-
McCaffrey, yeah, you
it-
called
that was
Dave,
that was. Did you read
was a
that stat
quality
before?
throw, like.
The 30,
Before the-
through the air 30 yards. So yeah, aye.
That
Takes
was
CMC
the
one
first.
game to do it.
Taking him one game, and that was the first plus 30-yard throw in however many, whatever it is. And then the one that Jimmy did to Dwelly was his first through the air 30-yard plus throw ever, like for the Niners.
Isn't CMC was only the second person in history to get a throwing?
No,
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 I
there's
think
been
it's the
11.
fourth or fifth.
No, he's the 11th player who
It's
ever
the
done
first
it,
one
but-
since the LT, is it?
Yeah, first one
LT
since
was the
LT.
last
The
one?
first, Peyton, LT, and CMC in the post Super Bowl era, if you like.
Yeah.
So but there have been 11 players who have done it, but the
but
previous
LT
8 were
was
way
just
back.
awesome. Like,
Yeah. And, Walter Payton was a bit special.
yeah.
It's not a bad. It's not a bad.
No, it's a
Group
good
to be
group.
in.
List to be on.
Yeah.
Surprised he'd not done it before, though. Again. He was everything to do with Carolina when he was fit.
Yeah. Well, he looks special. If he can stay fit, he's
After for a week and a bit in our system and reading our playbook.
yeah.
It was a bit special.
If you can keep him fit, you've had an absolute steal with the trade that you got.
Completely.
Everyone, it was interesting after the Chiefs game when he turned up and everyone was like, "God, geez, is that too pricey? Is that too much?" and now
Cost
it's like
them.
everyone's like, that looks a bit of a steal right now.
Yeah.
But again, one game and a bit.
You've got to
not
stay
jump the
fit,
gun.
and it was just the Rams, you know.
Oh, I guess Doug, you'll be invited back on again.
Couldn't help it.
I had to get one in there.
Oh, well, you
Might
should have
as
seen these two in the Twitter chat. I had to tell the boys to behave.
He
Like
started.
children, behave.
He started it. But anyway, gents, it's been a good laugh. Appreciate your time. Thanks for jumping
Thank
on,
you.
Doug. Welcome
Yeah,
to the
cheers.
team.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
We might have a new victim next week.
Yeah, it's a revolving door. Bring them in. We'll laugh at them and send them back out again.
I'm not saying who it is because it's a surprise for Craig.
Oh, gentlemen,
He
thank you very
doesn't.
much
He
for your
doesn't
time.
find out the guests until I bring them in after he's already in. So he gets a nice surprise.
It's like, oh, you brought him. Oh, for God's sake, yeah.
Exactly.
I knew he'd love the Dougie one.
Good stuff, gents. This has been
Cheers,
Football
guys.
from Across the Pond. Thank you very much.